Mr. Speaker, the big question this week is, can we believe what the Prime Minister says? So let us start with his credibility gulf over the election. The Prime Minister was asked this: hand on heart, if the polls showed a 100-seat majority, would you still have called off the election? And he said yes. Does he expect anyone to believe that?
Mr. Speaker.
The Houses of Parliament, known also as the Palace of Westminster, has for centuries been the centre of our political system. We have two Houses of Parliament, the House of Commons and the House of Lords. It is the role of both houses, or chambers as they're often referred to work together to represent the people of the United Kingdom. They both help in framing new laws, scrutinising government policy and debating the major issues of the day.
It's only our first exchange, and already the Prime Minister is asking me the questions. This approach is stuck in the past, and I want to talk about the future.
The House of Lords is made up of a mixture of representatives, some chosen by the Queen on the advice of the Prime Minister, and others who have inherited their seat. Like the Commons, they scrutinise government policy and debate major issues. However, most of their time is spent revising and amending the government's proposals for new laws. But it is in the House of Commons where the real business of lawmaking takes place, decisions that affect every person in the country.
I certainly can say, as I said before, that it's important that all schools get these freedoms. However, it is obvious that we disagree on the issue of admissions.
The House of Commons is made up of 646 people called Members of Parliament, or MPs. The MPs represent 646 areas of the United Kingdom, known as constituencies, and are usually members of a political party. There are three main political parties. Firstly, there is Labour, who currently has the most Members of Parliament. As Labour has the majority of seats, it forms the government. Next, there are the Conservatives, who have the second biggest total of MPs and so are referred to as the official opposition. And finally, the Liberal Democrats, who have the third most seats. The other seats are made up of smaller parties. The election process can seem complicated, but in the UK it's based on a very simple premise. It's referred to as the first past the post system.
We have 646 MPs, and effectively at a general election we have 646 separate elections in each constituency, and the votes in each constituency are tallied up, and whoever gets the most votes in that constituency wins a seat. Candidates tend to represent parties, and then when all the 646 MPs are brought together, the party with the most successful candidates will form the government.
As there are 646 constituencies, so the party that makes it first past the post of 324 seats becomes the government. Looking at the 2005 general election under the first past the post system, Labour won 355 seats, the Conservatives won 198 seats, and the Liberal Democrats won 62 seats. First past the post is a clear and simple way to hold an election, as each voter only has to place one cross on the ballot paper. As a result, one MP is elected and people of that constituency know who to speak to if they have an issue they want resolving, regardless of which party they represent. So, according to the first past the post system, the political party that wins the most seats gets to run the country. But how do MPs win a constituency in order to gain a seat in Parliament? Usually, Members of Parliament are elected once every 4 or 5 years when the government of the day calls a general election. This is when the whole country gets the chance to vote for the person or party they want to represent them in Parliament. If you want to represent your area, first you have to be selected by your chosen party. In order to get elected, you need to run a campaign to inform voters in your constituency, not just of your personal views, but your party's views too. This is because voters will sometimes choose to vote for a candidate, not because of who they are, but because the party they represent shares similar views to their own. You can also choose to stand as an independent candidate. Often this means you represent a political cause or a local issue, rather than a party.
Liz has made up her mind who she's backing in the general election. So today, she's off to cast her vote. Unfortunately, Liz didn't register. Make sure nothing stops you voting in the general election. Register now at aboutmyvote.co.uk or call 0800 3 280 280.